Hello friends, Cartoon Countries here. Finally, after centuries of waiting, The Nightmares Beginning Episode 4 Part 1 has been released. And I must say, this is one of the funniest episodes in the series so far because I was laughing my ass off. The jokes in this episode are simply well planned. And I'm gonna cover all of those in this video while also pointing out some secrets that you probably missed. So get yourself prepared because it's going to be awesome. Let's go. So before I start, I just want to ask you all to give this video a like and also subscribe to my channel if you want to see more of this stuff. Anyway, this episode starts off similarly to the teasers Eeian showed us, but there are some notable differences between this episode and the trailer, like how the quality has changed from the trailer. As we can see, the episode's lighting was supposed to be more on the darker tone, but instead, we got a more soft, warm, atmospheric tone. This change is pretty smart if you think about it, because it shows how things are settling down. The previous arc had a darker tone, glitches, and more mysterious vibes, so it fits knowing that there's no fast-paced fights like the last episode, where FSE got extremely cooked, but we'll get to him in a moment. And also, this watermark on the bottom left corner was a mistake. Eeian pointed out, saying that it wasn't supposed to be there and that he lost the footage. Honestly, I was too distracted with the cinema happening on my tablet to even notice that. Anyways, the episode starts off with Frau teasing UK Mapper, but then he quickly calmed him, saying how he was just messing with him. He then tells him about the last episode's events and how Zeiruth took over his body. He then has the nerves to say it's funny. I'm really starting to dislike him, not the actual person, just the character. Then UK Mapper responded with Zeiruth, as in, he doesn't know who he is. At first, I find this a bit odd, but then remembered that Zeiruth didn't actually introduce himself to UK Mapper when he was talking to him in his head. Then Frau continues the story, saying that how Zeiruth was an ancient deity that hated the early days of the Roman Empire, which was the first empire on Earth, by the way. I find this to be pretty interesting since it tells us how Zeiruth had contacts with the ancient Balls. This could also mean that Zeiruth had seen every major event that happened, like the construction of the pyramids and World War I and World War II. Pretty interesting if you ask me. Then Frau said how his student FSE told him everything that happened in the Hayward Library and how UK Mapper was unconscious throughout the fight scene. UK Mapper then asks if his friend is okay. Frau replied, saying that he took care of everything and how FSE is recovering. Then we cut to Eeian minding his business, when all of a sudden he got a text from Frau, saying that his son is with him and told Eeian to come to Hayward to meet them. By the way, this episode, in fact, the whole series, doesn't take place in Russia, but rather in California. But that doesn't make sense because the description in episode 1 says that they're located in Siberia. Maybe it's just an error. Anyway, we then cut to Zav in one of the worst places imaginable, Detroit. Now what she's doing there, I don't know. Maybe she's looking for another one of Zeiruth's fragments because we saw in one of the teasers that there is a fragment somewhere in California. But if that were the case, why is she doing all the way in Detroit? To many questions, so few answers. Then UK Mapper asks Frau how he knows his dad. Frau then introduces himself to UK Mapper and reveals that he's a teacher in Ashenwright. Then he said that they have been hunting down these shadow creatures for decades, possibly even centuries. Now, who the hell are these people Frau is talking about? Is Frau part of a group that hunts these creatures for centuries? Anyway, Frau then adds that all of this happened all because of Zeiruth. Then he explained that before Zeiruth, that being depressed doesn't spawn these anomalies, and how that Zeiruth rigged the system to summon these demons to anyone that's depressed. If you didn't get all that, don't worry, I don't get it either, but I'm going to try to explain it in a way you all would understand. So basically, some balls were born with powers, and that with every power has a dark side. Then Zeiruth came and messed with the power system to whomever has negative emotions that have powers. He then summons a demon inside them that torments them. And then these demons gain physical forms to take over regions, kinda like zombies but worse. And if you still didn't get that, I understand because explaining something like this is honestly a bit difficult for me to do. Anyways, we see a light, and it turns out we are in FSE's house, who had just woken up. He has bandages all over his body due to the fight that he got with the possessed UK Mapper last episode. We then cut back to UK Mapper and Frau to have a phone call with FSE to see how he's getting along. UK Mapper then says how he looks good. FSE then retaliates saying how his injured self looks good to UK Mapper. FSE then turns his attention to Frau and asks for his other mission. Frau then replied, saying that FSE is still injured and how he needs to take it slow. FSE then said that someone is arriving. Surely enough, it's Eeian. He then says how he travelled from San Leandro to get to Hayward. Eeian then greets Frau, and while he's doing that, we can see several interesting posters in the background. The first poster seems to be of Zyrif, and a text behind him says Red Cube. And we can see the word evil pointing towards him. Now I don't know about y'all, but this looks AI generated. Then we can see a drawing right next to it, which shows the 4 protagonists with the text, the Golden Age, and the year 2001 to 2016. Now what this is supposed to mean, I have no idea. I guess you can assume that the Golden Age was the year when we were young and making CVC edits on CapCut. How nostalgic that must feel. Then Eeian scolds UK Mapper on where he was. UK Mapper then explains the events of the previous episodes. To Eeian says shame. Frel then interrupts them by saying how Eeian sounds like he doesn't care about his son's life. Eeian replies by telling Frel how he's way too nonchalant about this, and says how UK Mapper basically dug his own grave. Now he's actually got a point. UK Mapper was indeed in the hands of an all-powerful being, and he could have actually lost his mind with Zyrif. Frel then tells Eeian that he's fine and takes UK Mapper home with him, and the first part of the episode ends there. Now what did y'all think about this episode? Well, I find it to be a bit hard to understand since a lot of things just got told to us in this 3-minute long episode. That scene with Frel explaining the shadow creatures is a bit for me to debunk in this video. Also, Eeian, I love your episodes and your work, but my suggestion is that don't make the text fade out fast, since Teja was a lot of dialogue that went by super quickly. Maybe try to give us time to read the already long dialogues, since this will surely help with the expressions the characters are feeling. Although this episode had its flaws, I still do appreciate the series and storytelling that UK Mapper and Eeian made. I will be looking forward to future episodes. And that's all from me. Thanks to y'all for watching. If y'all want to see the episode, it'll be linked in the description. So anyways, goodbye and good night.